Hello, everybody, and welcome. With the lack of Michigan football news or Michigan athletics news in general, other than Michigan baseball surviving last night against Illinois in the Big Ten tournament, they advanced in the losers bracket. Thank you WCBN for the coverage of that. You go watch WCBN for any college sports; they cover pretty much all of them, and I will be watching or listening to them rather on WCBN on YouTube, probably for this Nebraska game. So when this rolls around, it's on September 30th this season. Maybe you will run into me over there. But first off, let's get started. We're talking Nebraska. We're doing a little preview. I'm doing a series on all Michigan opponents this season. And I started with the non-conference, and then I did Rutgers, and we're going in chronological order of the schedule. Nebraska joined the Big Ten in 2011, and since then, their record is 75-72, so not so great. The Big Ten is pretty tough. No bowl appearance for Nebraska since 2016. Nebraska overall is 912 wins, 717 losses, and 40 ties. And they have 46 conference wins in various conferences they've been in, but none in the Big Ten. Nebraska claims 5 national championships from 1970 to 1997, where they split with Michigan in the polls. The series record for Nebraska versus Michigan, Michigan leads the series 7-4-1, and Michigan has won the last 3 meetings. The largest margin of victory in this series is 56-10, 46 points by Michigan. The last game in Nebraska for Michigan was too close for comfort. I believe it was a 2-point win, and it took a forced fumble recovery for Michigan to win that game. At head coach, it is the first season for Matt Rule, a former head coach at Carolina Panthers in the NFL and Baylor, and he was a former Penn State player. His record in college as a coach is 47-43. So I guess it takes him a little bit to build up the program. Quarterback, they have options here. None of them the most elite. At sophomore, you have Chuba Purdy. Will he be the guy? 147 yards on 47 passes, but 3 interceptions last season. Senior Jeff Sims, the transfer from Georgia Tech. Will he get the nod? Last year he was 59%, had 1,115 yards, 5 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. And you have junior Logan Smothers, 53% for 96 yards, no touchdowns, and no interceptions. So them are the 3 guys vying. A Nebraska fan would probably comment down below who you think it's going to be. At running back, you have senior Anthony Grant, who had 218 rushes for 915 yards, which is a 4.2 average yard per carry, and 6 touchdowns. And then you have junior Gabe Irvin Jr., 20 carries for 94 yards, 4.7 average. And then senior Ramir Johnson had 19 carries for 85 yards, and that's a 4.5 average. In 2021, he had 112 carries for 495 yards and 4 touchdowns. And then you have sophomore Trevin Lubin, who is a up-and-coming promising running back. At wide receiver, Nebraska has junior Xavier Betts, 20 receptions for 286 yards. That's a 14.3 average. Senior Billy Kemp transferred in. Last year, he had 16 catches for 116 yards. But in 2021, he had 74 catches for 725 yards and 6 touchdowns. And in 2020, he had 67 receptions for 644 yards. And then at sophomore, Barron Miles Jr. is a promising guy, and also Sean Hardy II, sophomore. promising players. So not the most experienced and not maybe the depth that they want yet there at Nebraska. At tight end, junior Eric Gilbert. Last year he had 2 catches for 16 yards and 1 touchdown, but in 2020 he had 35 catches for 368 yards. And then sophomore Thomas Fidone II is a promising up-and-comer. On defense, Nebraska has some players here to mention. Senior Luke Ramir, 86 tackles, 1 sack, 1 interception. At defensive back, you have junior Miles Farmer, 73 tackles, 1 interception, and 4 passes defensed. A lot of defensive backs here on this list. Another defensive back, junior Isaac Gifford, 70 tackles and 1 sack. Defensive back, junior Marquez Buford Jr. had 59 tackles and 2 interceptions. And then defensive back senior Quentin Newsom had 44 tackles and 2 sacks and 10 passes defense, excuse me. Very formidable. And then at D-line, a junior Colton Feist had 46 tackles for Nebraska last season on the defensive line. Now, I originally thought that Nebraska could be like a 9-win team, just looking at the schedule, but after I've gone through all this, I'll be honest, I think maybe 7, 8 wins is possible. Just make a bowl, Nebraska. Just make a bowl, but they have at Minnesota to start off right out of the gate. I had them winning that, but I don't see it. I think that's probably a loss. At Colorado, they have to play Dion out there, Mr. Primetime. I think they win that game. NIU, that's a win. Louisiana Tech should be a win. And then this game, Michigan, they have at home. And this is the first of 2 road games for Michigan. So they cannot overlook Nebraska because of the game at Minnesota the next week for the Little Brown Jug. So it'll be interesting. And it's, like I said, the last time we were there, it was a 1-score game. Michigan has to keep an eye out for these guys. At Illinois is next for Nebraska. That's going to be tough. Northwestern and then Purdue at home, both possibly wins. I think good wins. And then at Michigan State, I think they can win. Maryland at home, I think they could win. At Wisconsin's going to be tough. And then Iowa at home to end the season. So we'll see. I'm thinking right around 7 wins is what I got for Nebraska. I think Michigan wins this game, probably by multiple scores, I would say, at this moment in time. I will have predictions for all the teams' records in the Power 5 coming up closer to the season after this series, after I dive into these teams a little more. So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe if you have not. At Minnesota is the next one, so hit the bell for notification after you subscribe so you know when that video will be posted, because I don't even know when that video will be posted. Thank you, everybody, and have a great day. Go Blue.